Hey, good morning, it's Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Time for my monthly rant with Vancouver City Hall. I'm beginning to realize I could probably do a blog every day for the next year and still not run out of topics to talk about what I feel is the absolute incompetency of our mayor and Vancouver City Hall here. So I'll rapid fire here through some. I've got a ton of them. I can only talk about so many, but let's talk about the ones that are in the news the most right now. First thing, the vacancy home tax. Now, it's still very vague about how Mayor Robertson is going to enforce this. But the latest thing I'm seeing is, where is all this going to end? And how are they going to enforce a vacant home tax? Think about this. Apparently, we don't have the hard numbers on this, but we've got thousands of units that are bought, paid for, they're paying their taxes, they're paying their maintenance fees, that are sitting empty. And somehow this vacant home tax is going to make a big difference to these people. I can tell you that it's not. If you've got a $1.5 million or even a $600,000 condo in downtown Vancouver that you've bought and it's sitting empty, and you've foregone putting that property on Craigslist and getting a long-term tenant in there, so you're giving up $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year in possible rental income. Do you think that a $1,500 or a $2,000 tax levied every year on the vacant property is going to make any difference? They're already foregoing $30,000 or $40,000 in potential rental income. That's not going to make a difference. They're talking about snitch lines, and now I'm hearing they're talking about infrared cameras to see if there's any heat coming from the unit. What is it going to cost to run this program as well? The latest thing too is that a vacant home will be classified as if it's empty, and they can prove that it's empty, they're going to hit you with the tax. Well, I've already read a couple of articles in the Globe and Mail and in the Financial Post, people talking about, well, what about a guy who has a one-bedroom apartment and decides to throw it on Craigslist for $5,000 a month. Now, it's overpriced, of course, but hey, I've got an ad on Craigslist. I want $5,000 a month for that one bedroom. No takers. Are they going to get swept up in the vacant home tax? Hey, I'm trying to rent it. I've got an ad on Craigslist. So where does all this end? The next step, I guess, would be for Vancouver City Hall to step in and put a cap and tell us owners and landlords what we can charge for our properties. Is that going to be next? You can only charge $2,000 a month, and anything more than that, if it's not rented, it'll be considered an empty home and you'll be taxed on it. Next up, Airbnb. I don't even know where to start on this one. Gregor Robertson thinks that by terminating Airbnbs and the condos in Vancouver and making them illegal, it's going to flood the market with thousands and thousands of units, which will then cause our rental prices to plummet. It's not, of course. He's setting himself up here for another lawsuit here. I don't know where this ends. If someone buys a property, pays for the property, pays the property taxes, the maintenance fees, and they're not going against the bylaws of their strata, I don't know how the government, the city government, can step in and tell you how you can run that property or what you can do with that property. So I see the lawyers being busy on this one as well. I don't think it's going to hold water. On the law front, we've already now got a class action lawsuit against the federal government for the foreign buyer's tax. It's unconstitutional. From what I'm reading, again, like everybody else in the newspapers, it sounds like this class action lawsuit's got a pretty good leg to stand on. And you better bet that if the federal government can't defend this and they're forced to pay damages, then you better believe the federal government will turn around and get those damages from the provincial government, the BC government. So we've got a lot of stuff going on here. Again, I don't know where this is going to end. Our mayor here is never met a tax he didn't like. In my opinion, what we've got going on here, folks, is a bit of a magic trick, a sleight of hand. Gregor Robertson with this hand is dangling about and trying to defer your attention here with these minor little taxes, the vacant property tax, the provincial government with the foreign buyer's tax, banning of Airbnb, to try and distract you from the real situation, which is over here. And that situation is billions of dollars of capital flowing in from overseas into the Vancouver real estate market unchecked. And where it's coming from, we don't know, but that's going to involve the federal government and international banking, which is beyond the control of what Revenue Canada can do in a lot of cases. The other thing that's happening, which I've talked about many times before, is the Cash for Citizenship program that Quebec continues to run. They're letting in thousands of investor class buyers from China who are able to essentially buy their citizenship. They make a interest-free loan to the Quebec government for $750,000. It's all paid back within 5 years. They only have to stay in Quebec for a year, and then they're free to move wherever they want. They can then take all their money, buy multiple properties, and even better yet, buy multiple properties and put them in different people's names, their kids' names, and designate them as principal residences. Then when they go to sell the principal residence, that $1 million or $2 million that they earned goes tax-free to them. So here we're talking with this hand, Gregor Robertson is talking about rinky-dink little taxes of $1,000 here, $1,000 there, when we've got hundreds of millions of dollars coming in off this side. I blogged about it last month. It's quite simple. One of the easiest fixes to get on a path to leveling the playing field is this. If someone, a foreign buyer or any buyer, overseas buyer, wants to buy a house and designate it for tax purposes as a principal residence, then they have to have bought that house, purchased that house with income that's been earned in Canada. So it's net income. They paid the property or the income tax on that in Canada. Then they can buy one house per person and designate it as a principal residence. Right now, we do not have that. Money is coming in, they're able to buy multiple properties and designate multiple properties as principal residences. If the money is not declared in Canada and earned in Canada and paid tax on it, then you're more than welcome to buy a house in Canada or a condo, but you cannot designate that as a principal residence for tax purposes. It's pretty straightforward. We've got all kinds of articles now coming out talking about this same thing, including the professors out at UBC. So these taxes, the banning of Uber, the vacant property tax, it's all sleight of hand here. The real situation is coming in on the other side here with that Quebec investor program and the unchecked capital that's been coming in and being able to buy multiple properties and designate them as principal residences. I'm Owen Bigland. I'm sure I'll do another blog, an update on this in the next month or so. I'm kind of getting tired of it. The incompetency of it just keeps coming. I've got other topics with Vancouver City Hall I could mention as well. I'm also seeing dozens of articles now coming out over the last month about Vancouver's density issues, lack of supply. Every single week there's a number of articles. The Fraser Institute has come out with a survey, many of the banks have, on what's going on at City Hall. Why is it taking 2-3 years or longer to get rezoning? And the bureaucracy and the money that developers have to pay. Now, I'm not advocating just build anywhere like they do in a place like Panama City, but we need to be greenlighting a lot more density in this city. And in what I've been saying all along, Vancouver City Hall speaks with forked tongue. On one hand, they talk about affordable housing. On the other hand, they're stifling development and density. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.